the World Cup being a separate thing, the second I heard about it, I was like, that is awesome. The second I was thinking, well, how do I get involved? I have no idea. yeah.
Am I Jamaican or English? I got to choose.
You got two options. You got to hit up the Jamaican FA. I mean, who doesn't want to do a Flanagan's Onions Road to Glory kind of save?
Stupid, sexy Flanagan's.
People always assume that there's a lot more thought process that goes into that than there actually is. I don't know anybody at the U.S. Soccer Federation, but I hope I get a call. Right, that would be a lot of fun. Dress as Ted Lasso and show up and try to win it on enemy soil. I mean, I'm happy that you won it, because when I saw Lelujo got France, I'm like, this is my worst nightmare.
Oh yeah, I saw that as well.
Hello everyone and welcome to the FM show. I am your host Tony Jameson. Joining me as always is Mr. Summer himself, RDF Tactics, aka Aaron Falloon. But Aaron, it's not just us two again this week, is it?
Oh no, we've got a special guest.
Special guest. This week, everyone, we are joined by none other than Captain America himself, Long Island IC, Zealand. How are you, pal? Welcome in.
Great. I finally I was able to steal that moniker from Pulisic. I've been in legal disputes for a long time, and it just feels great to be able to hear Captain America for me instead.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Marvel don't use that much anymore, do they? Oh, so it's fine. We're probably okay with that. But yeah, no, appreciate you coming on. Obviously, we've got loads and loads of stuff to talk about. I suppose, the main thing being FM25, little bits and pieces are sort of like filtering out. We've obviously got the Premier League licenses, FIFAe World Cup, women's football. We've asked some Q&As from the audience as well, some stuff out on Twitter, and then some bits are going to go as part of a Patreon exclusive as well. So we'll just leave that carrot dangling there for a little bit. But Zealand, let's talk first of all then. FM25. Do you want to start with what you want for the future, or do you want to look back on the last 10 years of FM24 back to FM14?
The future, dude. I've been waiting for Football Manager to enter, not even the future, the present. I've been waiting for Football Manager to enter the present when it comes to graphics for a long time. And them actually attempting to do that is great. So what I want is for them, in whatever announcement they make in the future, to actually show a measly screenshot, just like an alm for the poor here, of the actual match engine, right? Like I get that the initial announcement, they had all this different nonsense they put in there, all these words from old Miles, but I was looking for pictures and visuals, and that was the one thing that I felt like they left out. And I'm trying to, as a dutiful optimist, come up with a good justification for why they left out any potential little videos or screenshots of the match engine. Something maybe they just wanted to save it for its own unveiling. Maybe they're bringing in Arsene Wenger to do. I don't know. I can't come up with a good reason, but I'm gonna try.
I was gonna say, I think that's the thing, isn't it? Like by not saying much, it leaves everyone else to hypothesize, doesn't it? And then everyone's filling in the blanks with no information.
No, I mean, the problem is they already said something. That's because they're already like, oh, we're moving to Unity, and it's going to be sexy.
Yeah.
And it's like, you basically just, it's like, okay, hey, we're going to the best restaurant in town. And then the first thing they serve you is like, hey, we've got these really nice potato chips. You're like, that's great. But I'm looking for, the real show here. Like whatever, fancy sea urchin foam, whatever the hell you got going on in some fancy restaurant. I clearly don't know. I need to watch some more Gordon Ramsay or something. But like they teased the one big thing that everybody had been hoping for. And they're like, oh, by the way, we redesigned the UI. It's not like I don't like the UI. It's like, I just want to see the one big thing that you were teasing before.
And I think that's got a few people's backs up already as well, the UI, because I don't know, rightly or wrongly, a lot of people have went straight away with going, it now looks like a mobile game, I hate it.
Well, I mean, those people are not exercising their critical thinking skills here, because a lesser person might call them dumb, but the The take that like it looks like a mobile game. I mean, it's just better. I don't know. I look at the UI and it just feels better. Like if you look at Football Manager the way that it is now, the way it presents information, it's like playing a game of hide and seek. I mean, you have to like speak the language in order to find the sort of thing that you're looking for.
Yeah.
The new UI is more intuitive. Now, when I made like a whole video reacting to the thing, as any good YouTuber should, right? But they have this whole part of the release from Miles where he talks about, well, we wanted to make it easier for console games. I think that sentence alone is what set a lot of people off. And I understand that fear. I think the changes they've made up to this point are actually good. It's more intuitive. It makes more sense. Information's easier to find. Obviously, I've not played it. I've seen 4 pictures of it, so I have no idea if if my initial takeaway is right. I could be completely wrong. But I am afraid of that line. Like, we're trying to make it easier for console players. Because this is a PC game. This is a sweaty laptop in the basement game. That's what it is. At least that's the game we all fell in love with. If the majority of the player base is all of a sudden on console, then those sweaty dudes in the basement with their laptops are no longer steering what's being added to the game, right? Whatever's being added to the game is being dictated by people that don't even have gaming PCs, which is just a horrifying thought, sometimes. Not that there's anything wrong with playing FM on console, it's just there's a certain inertia that comes with, well, this is the game I fell in love with, but now it's going mainstream. It's like I'm watching my favorite indie artist go into the pop top 50, and now they're making songs with Post Malone and Taylor Swift,
Yeah.
And so I could see it being a disaster in the future in terms of what we love from Football Manager. But right now, I feel like FM almost kneecapped themselves with that sentence saying, like, oh, well, we made this, we also think this is better for console gamers. And every true FM fan's like, oh, you did what? But
See, I said something similar. Do you remember? I was like, I think it feels for a lot of us, it feels like they're just taking something away from us. And it's just like, yeah, I get that feeling as well. But back to that comment about the mobile game, I just think some people are lazy with their criticism. Like, they don't actually know what to say. They don't really know what they think of it. Possibly scared to like it. They're possibly scared to say, I actually like this. So they're just finding a quick thing is, it looks like a mobile game. And does mobile games look bad? They don't look bad. They look clean. They look easy to use. And they seem to run pretty fast. So if it looks like a mobile game, then it's almost a compliment.
People love the idea of change. But then when change is put in front of them, they go, yeah, but not like that. That's different to what I thought. and I think the criticism that I see a lot, Zealand, is that people have said, they've taken the words there of, the console game is sort of like is a thing now. The mobile game is a thing now. And everyone's just went, oh, there's going to be less information. It's going to be stripped down. And I was talking to one of the people that we've got in Discord today going, no. All the information will probably still be there, just it's on a less cluttered screen now.
Because you know what it is as well, what don't help is they told us, I said this as well, they told us what they've removed. They haven't said where they've put it or if it's still in the game or just like, we've removed this. So again, like it can feel like, wait, you've said it's easier for mobile gamers and now you're saying you remove stuff. So actually, yeah, it can feel like you're taking away a lot of the information within the game. Because again, they haven't told us where, if it's going to be in a different place, if it's relocated, and of course we don't have screenshots of anything else. So straight away with that analysis thing, something that I've used as well, and I'm purposely doing it in my videos, and I'm showing everyone this analyst screen so people can use it, because it's pretty useful, but I'm just hoping that they have relocated that rather than it's just not in the game anymore.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, is it an interesting way of opening a press release, Z, with here's the things we're taking out?
I feel like that they were just trying to get ahead of it, which I don't really necessarily. I get it, I guess, because you don't want to make it look like you're hiding. Like, oh, well, by the way, we had to like take the last line of the entire thing. But they are very, very image aware. I feel like they wanted to try and just get ahead of it and be like, hey, we're removing these things. I understand the thought process of why they wanted to remove them in the first place. Specifically because I am an industry plant that's on the payroll of SI. That is why I'm saying that. Actually, I do. I understand the thought process where they're like, we wanted to reevaluate every part of the game and we didn't, certain things were either redundant or we felt like we couldn't reevaluate it, or in the case of shouts, they just didn't like the way they worked. Like, I can see that. I mean, you can't possibly look at shouts the way they work now and go, yeah, that's like an accurate managerial experience. It's like, I don't even know how many shouts there are. We all use 2, maybe 3 if you're a berate kind of guy. And you use them all the time in the exact same situations, like, and they only take effect on dead balls, like all these weird things. So I get it. I also think that for the average player, I mean, the average player of FM is not even going to read that dev blog. So you have to think about the people that are reacting to the dev blog are exclusively the power users or people that watch videos that people like us make, right? Like that. Those are the only people that are reacting to this at all. I do remember I got a comment on the video. Somebody was like, "Thank God Zealand finally released this so he could tell me what to think." So I enjoy it.
This is what I said. Like, I don't think people know what to think. So as soon as one person saw someone else say it's a mobile game, it just hooked onto them, and then that's why I think a lot of people just say it because they don't know what else to say. Like, there's no words that can come out.
And
other than,
I think it's fine to look at it and be like, I mean, because it's not like they've given us that much. I mean, what was it? Four pictures and like 2,500 words, half of which was explaining, their philosophy behind making the game in the first place. The vast majority of what playing the next Football Manager is going to be, we don't know yet. So any reaction here, we're just kind of, like everything I've said so far, we're trying to project forward what it means, like what they're saying.
And that's the thing. Like we've got a lot of lines to read between, and we're sort of going, okay, well, maybe this, maybe that. I mean, the key there's a key word, of course, that they put in the blog, which was, if we had our time again, would we have done it the same way, or would we have done it differently? And I hope. Personally, I hope that they have looked at some things that don't work, and they're going, okay, cool, let's just scrap it off. We're doing a complete rebuild, like things with the shouts. I mean, if they are effectively just a placebo. I mean, I've never had praise work ever. Whenever I praise my players, they all look and go, we don't trust him. We don't trust him. What do you mean? What do you mean things are going well? Like, so do you think then, Z, like, is there a chance that a lot of like what we've niggled about over the past is going to be ironed out, or do you reckon we're still going to have bits and pieces in there that's not quite going to be to everyone's taste?
There are virtually no video games that are perfect. I know this as an avid enjoyer of all video games at the, sacrificing the majority of vitamin D that I probably should have gotten over the course of my life, right? Like there is always, if you play a video game long enough, and we all certainly play Football Manager long enough, there's going to be something you can find that you're like, dang it. I mean, in Football Manager, there used to be tactics that could completely break the game. So all I always ask for is, as long as there's not something that actually just just shatters the game, especially with a transition this big going into the Unity engine, if we can just avoid catastrophic errors, like goalkeepers up on corners score every time, or long throws score 25% of the time, or if you hit early crosses, you win 8-1 every time. If we can avoid that sort of stuff, I'll be happy. My bar is lower for this game than normal because of the massive amount of change that they're going for. And they've told us that. They're like, look, I mean, I guess this is another reason they would start with the stuff they're removing. They're like, look, we are trying here, right? Like we are trying something here. So hold on. Like, it's like me streaming as a VTuber or something. You'd be like, all right, we're going to try something for a second and we'll see how it works.
But you see, that's where my head's at as well. Like we're lowering the bar ourselves, but Aaron, pretty much everyone else has just went, this game's going to be the greatest game ever, and I can't see any reason why it won't be. And you're just like, you just set yourself up for failure.
It's crazy because I'm like that now. So previously, without the blog posts and all that, I was like, you know what? Because I don't know anything about FN25 or whatever. I just know it's going to be the first version of how it is. My standards were low. But reading that stuff, they've clearly spent a lot of time. They've clearly looked at everything, because they've said they've looked at everything. So actually, my bar is actually pretty high. And that's the simple reason, especially as well, like I'm not expecting pre-existing issues within the new game, especially that you've told us you've gone over things and if you're not happy with it, then you've reworked it. So if pre-existing issues then pop up again, that would be fairly annoying. but my bar is actually pretty high, simply for the fact that they're mentioning how much work that they've put into these things and how much care and attention that they've put into it. So for me, there's no real excuse other than the transition, which I'm obviously going to consider. So there are, or possibly will be, those slight bars, and this is like, that's just part of the parcel sort of thing. But as a game in general, my bar's fairly high. I'm expecting it to be a really good game.
Knowing you, Aaron, you'll be hitting the bar multiple times and then complaining about it later. So,
but yeah, my bar's pretty high, but it's not. I don't think it's unrealistic.
okay, well,
Everton 24 is a good game, right? But for us, like, we've been playing Football Manager for so long, it's been almost the same for so long. So, Football Manager, FM 24 is a good game, which almost it's easy to forget about. My case, anyway. So if that's a good game, I'm expecting FM 25 to be that.
And I think that's a fair point, right? That's a fair point. And Z as well, you've mentioned that we play the game probably more than the average consumer, right? Okay, and obviously there is a lot of people that play the game as much as us and possibly even more than us. Like,
oh, there's plenty. They're always happy to tell you too. Like,
exactly,
I have 4,000 hours. I'm like, do you have? What do you do?
I haven't slept since launch. Like,
those people that tell me, I'm like, dude, playing the game is literally my job. How do you maintain a life if you have?
I
you have
was
more.
Gonna say the same thing. That happened on me. That happened to me on stream. I'm like, mate, this is literally my job. How have you got double playtime than me? This is crazy.
I tell you, I'm gonna jump off from a different question then, because that's the one that's going to come up later. Has your relationship with FM changed then, now that it's your job?
No, not really. I always played a ton of games. Football Manager was just this game that I always came back to, and I always just got super addicted to. I mean, I have a really addictive personality. When I finally figured out how to play Planet Zoo, this is not an over-exaggeration, I spent 11 straight hours building the largest possible habitat that you can build in the game, like most animals possible. And I didn't eat for those 11 hours, like one day on a Saturday. I just played. So I am capable of these just ridiculous binges. And Football Manager just hooked me right at the right time of my life, just hooked me in with those binges. I just remember punting a trash can across my apartment, and my girlfriend at the time looking at me like, "What is wrong with you?" And I just finished 8th in the Prem with West Ham. I just missed Europe by like an inch. It was painful. I was losing my mind. So my Football Manager still has that for me. I think sometimes people will go like, "Whoa, did you burn out on Football Manager?" It's like, no, I've always just played a bunch of games. What's helped me is that when I started streaming Football Manager, I very rarely start a save that's not on stream or for a YouTube video. So where most people, like, I remember having conversations with a couple of different YouTubers who would be like, "Oh, you're dreading starting up their save or whatever because they have to do it they're doing it every single day and they got this other thing on the side."
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of the times for the stream, I'm looking forward to starting the stream because that's the only time I get to play my save, right? It's not some sort of experiment. It's not me watching a World Cup with every team. This is my save. These are my players. I was always a one save type of person, so oftentimes I'm very excited to fire up the stream. I don't think my relationship with Football Manager's changed that much. Other than the fact that before I started streaming it, I didn't think I was very good at the game. That was probably the funniest. It probably took me a year or two to get comfortable making tutorials to teach other people how to play the game.
A year or two.
I just didn't think I was that. I didn't think I was that good at it where I should be able to not tell other people how to play, but recommend.
You got good quick then because it took.
No. I'm talking.
It took me about 5 years of stop bloody saving and reloading. Genuinely, obviously, I started at a young age, but yeah, it took me a few years.
No, I was saying I meant
a year or two.
What I meant is a year or two of making content. I've been playing Football Manager. I've been playing Football Manager.
I know what you meant. Yeah,
a lot longer than that. But the content stuff. Like, I remember the first time I made a tactics video, I was like, dude, I'm gonna get ripped apart, and everybody loved it. And I was like, oh, I can do this. All right.
Yeah, as I say, I've been playing like since day one, and I still don't have any confidence in my ability to tell anybody what I'm doing. I'd be like, I'm just going to keep this to myself because I'm pretty sure it's wrong.
Yeah, it's kind of like putting your balls in the wind a little bit when you start making those like, here's how to scout, because everybody assumes now that I just like some sort of Football Manager computer because I've taught so many people how to play the game. It's like, no, every time you make a video like that, you're like, am I wrong? Like, is this just the best way to do it?
It was just the amount of videos that I'm scared to even push up because there's so much information. I'm like, this is my interpretation. Like, I don't know if this is factually correct, and I know there's going to be an actual YouTuber who because there's some great FM YouTubers out there who like they go in depth. Probably one reason why they're not like public to most people, because you have to really go and search for that content. But sometimes I watch that and I'm like, I'm doubting what I've just said in my video. Yeah, so yeah, I get that as well. It's crazy that you say that. Because all these feelings as well. As a content creator, even about the burnout stuff, now I'm lucky I've sort of got my method. So when I start sales, I've got a profile which is everything's automatic. The assistant does everything. So when I'm tactic testing, it's all basically like FM touch. Everything's just quick and go. So I'm not doing all that day one stuff. And sometimes when I am streaming, I do get that excitement. That's why I stream 2 times a day sometimes, because I get off and I'm like, I want to play FM, but you can't play it offline. I need to go back online just to play FM.
Yeah. I mean, streaming's a net loss too. Like, if I took all the time that I spend streaming and just made YouTube videos, I'd reach a lot more people and make a lot more money. I stream just because I enjoy it. I mean, honestly, you know, winning the Champions League with whoever with Tottenham or whatever, and chat's going absolutely nuts, and they. Honestly,
that Tottenham at the beginning, it was tough. It was a tough watch.
Aaron's still not over it. He's still not over it.
It was a tough one. I remember just watching him. I had to go on the thing. I'm like, did anyone just watch the living? Like, yeah, that was difficult.
Yeah, there's some hoodoo in the game around Tottenham. I don't know what it is, man. I bottled as hard as I've ever bottled, but we eventually made it.
That was difficult.
Yeah, no, I mean,
especially as me as well as a content creator, is that going into that last Champions League final game, like, the FM way, he's losing this as well. Yeah. But you've done this psych up thing before the game, you've gone to the FM gods and all of this, and I'm like, this is so difficult to watch, because I've sat here, I've read the script already. But
this is the thing though, like, people, you're saying there about making these tutorial videos, and like, the position you are within like the creator space, people do look and go like, you're the guy who knows everything, and you then go into that game going, I better win this, otherwise this is not going to go well for my reputation here.
No, that was definitely. I think when the streamer showdown was a thing, that was definitely more prevalent. Like, if I would show up at the streamer showdown and get my ass kicked, then it was like, oh, okay, this guy actually sucks.
Yeah. I had the same here as well. Pressure.
Aaron,
being a tactics guy, so it was like, so I was lucky I got to the semi-final. I was like, that's decent enough. But there was pressure. The first few games was just like, don't lose. Like, my whole setup was don't lose. I think I went to the playoffs one time. I was like, I had 8 defenders in the first couple of games. Because like, just don't lose. Don't lose.
Yeah, no, winning that first one definitely was that turned a lot around, because the first couple streamer showdowns I got destroyed. I think it was more just I'm not good at PvP games. I'm just not. Whether it was Call of Duty or whatever, I'm the guy that, like, somebody pops up from around a corner and I'm like, and my fingers slips off the mouse. Like, I'm not, even PvP strategy games, like, I'm way more comfortable playing against the computer or playing solo games. And Football Manager always scratched that itch. So the transition to PvP was very difficult for me. But once I finally won the first one, I just, like, put that on my Twitter bio for a while, and I'm like, okay, I am validated in where I am.
I knew that I was struggling in PvP when we ran a community PvP tournament, and I lost to the AI, and the AI won the tournament. I was like, I don't think I'm great at this. I was like, I'm learning the hard way here. But from there, you mentioned the Streamer Showdown, you mentioned PvP. Obviously, draft mode per se isn't going to be in FM25 at launch, but there is a little thing called the FIFAe World Cup, isn't there? What's your thoughts?
I mean, My first thought was cool. Like that sounds like a really cool idea. I don't think Football Manager is like a great esport. I think it is more of I think it's kind of like I want to say WWE or poker, where like clearly the point of Football Manager is you can't control everything. There isn't a 100% best way to do it. And because you're not actually controlling the players, it's not like League of Legends or something where even if there is an absolute best way to do something, you still have to, in the moment, have the reflexes and the quick memory recall to like do that actual thing. But I think them doing it as an invitational is a great idea. I don't know if you'll ever be able to get people that are like actual Football Manager pros just because of how good they are at the game. It's something I like. If they said, I think in the thing, like, okay, if the draft mode could come back and then that could be used as qualifiers for the next like World Cup or whatever. I don't know if you'd get the same person to qualify twice. And I feel like even in poker, there are professional poker players. It's almost an experiment. I don't know the answer, but I don't know if you can have somebody that is just like a professional Football Manager player where there's just convincingly every year some guy qualifies for the World Cup out of England. Like it's the same guy every time. I don't know. Maybe it's just somebody that's running some sort of computer program to test tactics faster. I don't know. But every time somebody's asked me about FM as an esport, like that's kind of where I end up. But the World Cup being a separate thing, the second I heard about it, I was like, that is awesome. The second I was thinking, well, how do I get involved? I have no idea. yeah.
Am I Jamaican or English? I got to choose.
You got two options. You got to hit up the Jamaican FA. The FAs make the decisions, so I have no idea. I don't know anybody at the U.S. Soccer Federation, but I hope I get a call. Right, that would be a lot of fun. Dress as Ted Lasso and show up and try to win it on enemy soil.
I think that's the thing, though. Like, if I was to be involved, especially if it was streaming or whatever it is, I think I'm there for entertainment.
Yeah.
He's already taking his chances down.
As an opportunity. No, but because you're taking it as for me as a content creator, I'm taking it as an opportunity. Like there's possible eyes on it, so I'm taking it as an opportunity to entertain people. Whereas other people, it's just like their focus. I don't know actually, because now I've just remembered about the prize.
This is what I was about to say, right? 'Cause when you watch things like the Streamer Showdown, or you watch like the playoffs, the FM playoffs, or the Super League, or whatever, like all these other PvP tournaments that came after the Showdown, there was starting to become an air of extreme competitiveness in some people. Some people taking it very, very seriously. And you're going, there's no prize here. There's no prize. And you're acting like as if this is the World Cup. And now there's 100 grand on the table. Like, imagine how competitive some people are going to get. Now there is a check.
Yeah.
I mean, it'll be really competitive. People, like, obviously, if it's an invitational, the whole point is to get as many eyes on it as possible. The only reason to run an invitational anything is to just drive interest and have people pay attention to it in the first place. And if you're doing an inaugural Football Manager World Cup, you're probably just going to want the 24 people that are going to get the most people to pay attention to it so that it can be something that sustains. I hope I'm one of those 24 people, but you're damn right. If I'm going, I am going there at least. Maybe it's totally misguided. I will go there believing I can win. I will go there fully believing that I am destined to win the entire tournament. Like I will be, doing like 100 push-ups a night and training, like just visualizing hoisting the trophy with my mustache on. Like that would be my hope, and I'd study pretty hard. I mean, it is nobody has ever had an actual esport LAN Football Manager tournament that is recognized by any organization, let alone SI or Football Manager. And so the preparation and they haven't even really announced how it's going to, like, is it what are the draft parameters, whatever. The preparation is going to be really different. Whereas, like, I used League of Legends earlier. they've been playing that for so long. You know, the preparation is going to be pretty similar across the teams. They know what to do. They know what works. They know what doesn't work. The inaugural tournament, nobody's going to have any idea what's going to work and what's not going to work in the format and in the land setting and everything. So you just grind preparation and hope that you can pull off some results. Also, there's two things. One, you want to win the whole tournament. But two, most importantly, you don't want to get embarrassed. You don't want to show up and just lose 7-0 in the first game and you're like, oh.
But I think there's two ways of doing these tournaments though. Like you either, Aaron sort of touched upon it, you've either got to win or you've got to be the most entertaining. Like, and if you're going down, go down hard. Go down with like a 0 at the end of it and be like, right, that's what I did. I can only get better next year if I come back. Because again, you're going to get eyes on you that way. It might not be the eyes you want, but it's eyes.
You show up like the people at the Sidemen charity match where every single creator that shows up to that has a plan for how to go viral, and then you just get to watch each one of them try to execute their plan, whether it's like a reverse card for the yellow card or speeds coming in like, I am going to take out KSI in the first 5 seconds. Like that's everybody, so maybe it'll have a little bit of an element to that where everybody's going to come in with a different costume or somebody's going to show up with a ridiculous tactic, but at the end of the day, especially in the knockouts, it'll get really sweaty and Southgate-ish.
Yeah, it'll start to get a bit,
Once you can smell it, once it's clear that you're not going to get blown out, then it'll get really interesting.
Just slow it all down. 90-minute matches, and it'll be great. It'll be great.
Full match.
Just getting going off with like finger cramps and that. Like I've got to get my fingers rubbed out again. Mouse hands going down. Really sorry.
Oh, you just gave me a great. I just show up and you just hire 2 people to massage your hands in between matches.
Yeah, literally just
You're
stand
just
there.
sitting there getting a double hand massage.
Have a splint on and be like, oh God, Zealand's injured. Like how's he going to play? The final.
I'm just absolutely toughing it out right now. Like, I got a dual finger strain. I have no idea how I'm pulling this out.
Oh man, I love that. And I guess the thing is, I guess it's like weird to sort of think that's not even in the first part of 25. Like if we're talking about stuff that might get added in, then what would you be looking for? What would you be if you were in charge of it? See, what would you be adding to 25 that's not there at the minute?
I mean, we're not entirely clear what's there and not there yet. But
okay, so what would you want? What would you like in there?
Yeah, taking a stab at. My answer to this question for years has been, I want dribble moves. If I've got some guy with 18 dribbling and 18 agility, I want to see him absolutely cook someone. Now, they've started to add those in, but I just, like, the tricks and skills on the ball is just something that, if you can add that to Football Manager, it humanizes the players so much more. It's the best part of Football Manager is I sign this guy and he develops and he turns into this world beater, but in, like, Football Manager 14... he would just teleport through the defender. Now they've just progressed a little bit, but the more dribble moves and skill moves on the ball that they can add, the more real the game feels. It's like directly proportional, almost more than the graphics.
Yeah, as I say, I think that's the I noticed over the last couple of years. Like I remember texting Aaron going, "I've just seen someone drop a shoulder," and like that was the greatest thing I've ever seen.
See, that's what. Yeah, and I remember actually, I'm looking for it now because I remember I sent in a long, I worded it because I remember sending it to SI about adding it, but this was like a year or 2 ago, and it was like add skill moves, but then. In my head, it's like, they're just going to think FIFA, aren't they? They're thinking Rabonas and flick over. And for me, it weren't that. It was little things and like the drop of the shoulder, like humanizing people, the drop of the shoulder. And there is that trait, right? The player tries tricks. And you don't really see a step over or anything like that really beating a player on the game. So, yeah, that for me, it will be very important, especially now in the FM25, right? Is going to be important. How a player receives the ball, how they beat a player. I think those things are going to come slightly important to people.
I suppose if they're redesigning the entire match engine and all the match animations, then now's as good a time as any.
Yeah, especially now everyone's what? Everyone's a football analyst and a scout, right? On Twitter. So now people really do notice these little nuances in player moves. So It is, yeah. It's going to be very interesting. Very
It improved a
interesting.
lot going into FM24, though. I don't want to make it sound like it didn't. Their motion capture and stuff, and all the players, pointing and putting
Yeah,
their
yeah.
hand up for offside,
Yeah.
really humanized the game a lot.
Yeah, I was going to say that was one of those moments as
think
well.
I
It's just
saw-
like, play over there. I'm just like, I love this. I love this. Watching a guy go, oh,
Yeah,
that
yeah,
side,
yeah.
oh, that side. Great to see. Question I've got in the Discord here, Z, from Darno. He's asked, what's your opinion on FM becoming more mainstream? And he goes, i.e., less spreadsheet gameplay, more esports, FIFA career mode.
Well, I mean, it will never become FIFA career mode, right? They're clear in the direction they want to go, and that Miles, anytime he has the opportunity to speak, will tell you about how you don't want to go that direction where you're sitting in an office negotiating with a player in like FIFA career mode. How that gets repetitive very early. So I think Football Manager becoming mainstream. Football Manager basically gets to decide what it wants that to look like. I think it's a good thing. Personally, Football Manager is a great game. I love sharing it with people. I have long been told that if I want to continue to rise in YouTube or Twitch or whatever, that maybe playing Football Manager every day is probably not the best way to do that. If playing Football Manager every day is the best way to do that and actually enables me to like fund this kind of travel TV show that I've been working on YouTube that we've done a couple of episodes of just from playing Football Manager, that would be amazing. So purely out of self-interest, right, Football Manager going more and more mainstream is great. I totally understand the concerns, and then coupled with Miles talking about like, oh, we're making it more accessible for console. I think Football Manager going more mainstream is going to make the game better, but you have to make sure that you stay on SI and Football Manager about like let's not make this too gamey here.
Yeah.
I think that, like, because I always find these sort of points really difficult to take in, like the whole it being mainstream. Like it already is mainstream. Like people know about it. Like it's not like it's a little independent game that hardly anybody's heard of. Like we're now. Granted, now that the numbers are slightly inflated with console and mobile, but when you've got 10 million people, which I know in the video games industry isn't a huge amount, but 10 million people, still a couple of small countries. So that's not mainstream, isn't it? You're not playing to 5 people in the dog and duck.
It's a dig, though, innit? It's just a little dig. So, like, in the UK rapping scene, right? You always start underground, right? And the moment you make a pop song, your fans, he's gone mainstream. And straight away, he's gone mainstream. And it's never a bad thing. The game is growing, it's growth. And that's what you want. But you also get those hardcore underground fans that they just want that thing for themselves. And like I said, for a lot of us, it can feel like a part of FM is just slightly leaving us. But maybe that's what people mean about it going mainstream. It's not that spreadsheet and what they know it is. Like, not everyone can play it. I think some people really want that feeling of not everyone can play this. You really have to know what you're doing to play this game, which is the thing that I had, like, with playing around my friends. Like, nah, you lot are not ready for this game. Like, this is mine. You lot are ready. Stay with FIFA over there.
But is that not a good thing though, to like lower the barrier to entry? Because I mean,
well, as a content creator, yes, but not not 5 years ago. No, because I didn't want it to be a thing for everyone. Like, I just thought it was, at first, growing up, I just thought it was a thing that I played because no one in my state played it. So I didn't know anyone else that really played it other than my older brothers. So, and I was proud of that. Like, growing up, going to school, you don't play that dumb game. What? You lot are silly, man. You lot should be playing FM sort of thing. That was me, but yeah. I didn't want everyone playing the game, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, that was pretty easy for me to pull off in the United States because just nobody was playing that game. Right? Some of them didn't even
why are you
understand
not
the
playing
rules.
Madden like everyone else?
No, exactly. I was like, I was the only person in my college lecture playing Football Manager. That's for sure.
But the growth of it in the US is really picking up though. Like we're seeing like a load more creators, probably inspired by yourself, but we're seeing so many more people in North America busting out FM content and playing the game. And is that, do you reckon, hand in hand tied in with the growth of MLS, or Is it just coincidental, do you reckon?
No, I think Football Manager's never intended to market it in the U.S. Like, it was never a target market for them. I think that was probably an oversight, because the reason that the Premier League is able to make so much TV money is in large part because of English-speaking markets like the U.S. and China that it can sell TV rights to. Right? Because the U.S., where, like, soccer doesn't dominate the national conversation the same way that it does in a lot of other countries. That doesn't mean that a ton of people don't watch it and pay attention to it and understand it. I mean, the Copa America final over English and Spanish broadcasts, had more than 10 million viewers in the U.S. The Euros final had more than 10 million viewers in the U.S. across the language broadcasts. So it's not like there aren't a lot of people that are paying attention to what's going on. It's just less than are paying attention to American football and everything else. So I'm not surprised at all. I mean, I've had a lot of like American content creators that have wanted to learn how to play the game. Or I did a couple of streams with Carl Jacobs, who is really, like, he plays FIFA, loves soccer, was really interested in learning about the game, and got really, like, addicted to it before Mr. Beast buried him underground or something. I don't know what they're doing now, but there was one of the biggest college football YouTubers, like college American football YouTubers. I wanted to play the college football game, so I sent him a DM, and he replied, and he was like, "Oh shoot, I was playing FM last." He was getting into Football Manager last year and was really enjoying it, and so he's watched a couple of the videos. I mean, the United States relationship with soccer is always going to be different than any other country in the world, just because we have so many other sports that we invented and nobody else cares about, and we just kind of play by ourselves. But Football Manager it follows soccer wherever it goes, and it picks up those hardcore, burning laptop in the basement people like we are, and vacuums us up into playing the game. So I think the growth of Football Manager in the U.S. is going to continue, and especially going into the World Cup as well. I mean, people do not understand what that World Cup is going to do. It's especially if the United States makes, like, the quarterfinal, which the U.S. will be in pot one. It is possible. I'm not saying we have to beat, like, Brazil here, right? We might have to beat, like, Austria or something, which we'd probably lose that game right now. I'm aware. I'm not trying to talk any sort of trash, right? I'm just saying it is possible for us to be able to do that, right? It would be like a bomb going off. I mean, because women's soccer is so huge in the U.S. for one reason: that team wins. Particularly a home World Cup in 1999 in front of a sold-out crowd and like 20 million people watching on TV. And then, boom. All of the biggest matches that have ever been watched in the U.S. are all women's matches, and every girl growing up in the United States plays soccer. It's all because of that moment. And that moment could hit. And if that hits, then Football Manager could go nuclear in the United States.
This was a conversation I was having on stream the other day, actually, about that. And I said, I don't know what, I'm not just saying this to try and butt you up here, Z, but I reckon that America have got more chance than England in the next, about winning a World Cup next. That's my money's going on America, right? England are close, but they've got to be patient, right? But you're right, you say there, if a little bit of success, if the World Cup goes well and it picks up the interest, then you're right. Because the last World Cup, USA 94, I loved it, by the way, right? There was no league at the time, so it didn't pick the momentum up to go. Whereas now, MLS is growing, there's interest there, the clubs have got identities, there's somewhere for people to pick it up and then continue that legacy to go forward. So potentially, it could work. I'm aware that there's a few bits of issues potentially with the men's national team right now, and obviously international management on FM.
The sun has risen. Berhalter has been fired. There is a new day. There's a new dawn. So the issues are mostly gone now, fortunately.
Well, okay. What next then? What next?
I would have loved Klopp, but he didn't even pick up the phone. My favorite thing. My favorite thing about this story.
This confused me. Like, the moment I saw that rumor, I was just thinking,
no, apparently.
No chance. Like, no chance.
Well, apparently, the timing of all of this was great, because we lose to Panama. Like, we got a 19th minute red card because Tim Weah, an American hero, by the way.
Yeah, I watched it.
This Tim Weah probably solely responsible for Berhalter getting fired with this punch. just punches a dude for no reason. And we
It's 100% on purpose.
Yeah. He was paid off by someone, might have been me, not going to confirm that here, to punch a Panamanian dude and get sent off in like the first minute of the match. So yeah, we lose to Panama, who suck. Love them, but you know they've got a great nickname, the Canal Boys. Just want to get that out on the airwaves. That's their national team nickname. Yeah, but we lose that game, and then there's like a week before they fire Berhalter. I don't know if they were just trying to let it blow over, but apparently he gets fired. A couple hours later, the reports start to come out from the American versions of Fabrizio Romano about like, oh, they've made contact with Jurgen Klopp's camp. You know, somebody's agent talked to somebody else's agent. And then a couple hours after that, it comes out that, oh yeah, basically right when Copa America ended and Greg Berhalter was still the coach, they reached out to Jurgen Klopp and he said no, all before Berhalter was fired. So Berhalter was still in his job when Klopp politely declined coaching the U.S. So that's tough for Greg. That's a tough look. No, but who you asked what's next? I've heard Pochettino. I think that's a pipe dream. I can't imagine Pochettino taking the job. One that actually, oh God, what's his name? Rafa Benitez. Rafa Benitez is apparently interested in the job, and I think as the United States, we are not at a high enough level to turn down somebody that has ever managed Real Madrid, even in an interim capacity, right? Like we just have to say yes to that. If Rafa Benitez, for whatever reason, doesn't become the coach, then Hervé Renard, who is probably my favorite manager in the entire football world, and if you don't recognize the name, let me lay some facts down for you. He coached Saudi Arabia to the win against Argentina. He coached Ivory Coast to an Africa Cup of Nations win. And he coached Zambia to an Africa Cup of Nations win. And he might be the hottest dude alive. So all four of those things pulling in one direction. Yeah. Which people, like I said that on stream, people were laughing, but I'm like, look, that's important. In the United States, when you are trying to sell the game, if you get, if you get this like French sex god he's not only is he a very good coach, but now he becomes the coach of the U.S. national team going into the World Cup, and he's in all these commercials and doing all of these press conferences and this press tour. I mean, that's just inherently like, you need to have a cult of personality. The United States is based, like, all of our sporting heroes are based on having a cult person, like, all of our famous coaches, whether it be Bill Belichick or whatever, they have this cult of personality. He's wearing the cutoff hoodies and sandals, and it's 15 degrees outside. He does not care, right? Like, Hervé Renard is capable of building up that cult of personality that can get Americans behind the team. Like, so it actually matters. It's not just me being funny.
I'm all for that, Aaron. Are you?
Yeah, that sounds very. I'm not gonna lie. When you started handing my head just went straight to this. It's just like, it's so crazy because I had this conversation. Like, was watching the. I don't know. It was some sort of Beckham in the MLS, and he was crying right the last game, and I just remember like telling the missus like, this guy's just so handsome. And she just looked at me like, what? But that is literally all I could think of. Is like him and Giroud.
I get that with Giroud.
I don't care if you're great footballers, but I just look at you just like. Oh God! I start looking in the mirror like I need to do something with my face.
You know when you come up with like your top five with your partner, right? Like I've sort of said to Mrs. J, I was like, right, my top five. Number one's Olivier Giroud, and she's like, that's fine, that's fine. Like it doesn't matter about the other four. Like,
yeah, my head like it blows my mind when females say they don't like David Beckham. Which is my head just like you've lost the plot. You clearly don't know what to look for.
Yeah. I'm Team Posh Spice. She made the right decision, I think.
Let's go.
I was going to say we've gone off track, but this is nowhere near going off track to what we normally do. So.
No.
I will try and potentially bring it back though, and I'm going to do a shout out to my man Dean, who's at YO's Dean on Twitter, who I've literally just bumped into in Aldi. I was doing my shopping, getting my tea, so a bit on the way in, it's like Tony. I was like, yeah. So we had a bit of a chat. Mentioned that we were recording the show, so he's tweeted it. He's got a question for you, Z. He says, if you could transfer one aspect or feature from Crusader Kings to FM, what would it be?
Just off the top, by the way, I love Crusader Kings. If you have no idea what that game is, it is so damn fun. I had a laptop when I was 8 years old, and we had an old Paradox CD that got stuck in the laptop. I don't know if you lived in an era where, so we could not get it out. Like my brothers and I with like tweezers were like trying to get the CD out. But because it was stuck, all we could play was Crusader Kings. So I played, for years, that was the only game that I played. That was Crusader Kings 1. Now they're on 3. And I am, believe it or not a paid spokesperson for Crusader Kings. I'm just a fan. What could I bring from Crusader Kings into FM? There is a trait that you can get for your dynasty in Crusader Kings that makes like congenital traits that are positive more likely. So strong, genius, like more, like I think it's something weird like selective breeding. But Crusader Kings is a weird ass game. You can make your horse the chancellor. Like you can, you become a witch. The medieval times were bizarre. So if I could bring that into Football Manager, where I could do something like maybe your youth academy had traits. Oh, I'm finding it in real time. If your youth academy had traits, and you could try to, either through hiring different people or focusing financial investment in different directions, develop certain traits like we really focus on our strength training here. Like we're going to be in great shape. Like Barcelona just turning Lewandowski into the Hulk. Like that sort of, if you could get traits for your academy or your facilities or your coaching staff, I think that would be really, really neat. And just kind of, one trait just being that I spawn Messi every year. That would be awesome.
Pretty cool. I like that. Aaron, any more questions on the go before we start to cut down?
Oh no, I'm still trying to figure out what Crusader is. At first, because I saw the question, I was like, "Oh, that's a good question." Then he started talking, I was like, "Wait, I don't actually think I know what Crusader Kings is. I think I've got a complete different."
This is what I love about this show: is Aaron starts reading the script, and then it's actually worse for him to have it there than not have it.
I was trying to figure out, because that is not the game I saw you streaming. You was in the river on some sort of boat. I don't know what game that is.
Wait. That might have been Mountain Blade, maybe. Like Viking Conquest. Was I a dude standing on a boat? Or was it...
Yeah, and you're just going like in the water and just hitting things.
That was Rust. That was Rust. That's
the one. That's the one. So when in that question, that's what was in my head. I was like, oh, that's an interesting one. Then you started talking about horses.
Started talking about horses.
I saw you watching college football, and now you're talking about horses. I don't get it. I don't really get it. What's happening?
No.
Oh, I saw you play that game as well.
Rust is a savage game. Don't learn what that game is. It'll ruin your life.
I don't. Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to ask one then. Salty B says, what countries or leagues do you most want to see added into the base game? And is there any hidden gems that SI maybe don't know about? Oh, I'm missing a trick on, I should say.
You mean hidden gem players? That's what I don't know about?
I'm presuming he means leagues, possibly. I'm going to say leagues rather than hidden gem players, because presumably...
Well, you got to get Bermuda's league in there, because they've got a team called Flanagan's Onions that I mean, who doesn't want to do a Flanagan's Onions Road to Glory kind of save?
Stupid, sexy Flanagan's.
I mean, God. And your derbies with like some potato company on the other side of the island. I don't know. But I think probably the Gem League, jokes aside, Georgia would be a lot of fun. The Georgian League has a lot of character. It's got a good amount of parity. Normally, those former Soviet leagues, there's like one club that dominates. My understanding of the Georgian League is there's at least a couple of teams that are like in the conversation. Then, obviously, it's developing talent. I mean, a lot of those guys on that Georgian team, because when you look at a team, maybe a couple of national teams that have really burst on the scene recently, if you look at a team like Morocco, a lot of those players were developed in other leagues. I mean, they're Moroccan. I'm not one of those people, but like they were developed in other leagues. Where the Georgian team, a lot of those guys came up in the Georgian league, and so I feel like it would be
a lot of them from the same thing as well. Because I worked at Dynamo Tbilisi, and then like it's crazy because the group chats, right? It's like these people are telling you, like they're telling me about all these guys. Like I already knew about Caradonna because I had a scout thing when he was playing in Russia. But everyone else, even especially the goalkeeper as well, like the head scout was banging on about this goalkeeper. I'm like, mate, like he can't be that good. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Like,
They are, yeah.
and he shows me the clips and it's like, yeah, but that's the Georgian league sort of thing. And it's like, the players, they've got to start somewhere sort of thing. And it's like, he just kept saying it. And he was so adamant that these players are good. Building up to the Euros, he was so adamant, this team are going to do well and they are going to entertain. And the main thing was about the youth and how they all came, a lot of them came from the same academies. They all know each other. They're all very humble as well. So Caradonna, you would think he's sort of this guy, he's the best player, ego, whatever. But like in the camp, he's just a normal person. Like obviously that is the way that they've developed these players through the academy, like be humble and that sort of thing. And obviously these players have really taken that on board, and you can see it out on the pitch as well. So yeah, the Georgian league, it's crazy to watch because if you're a betting man, I don't know, like Man City win one week, you're like, yeah, they're on a good run now, they're going to win next week. And it's like Dynamo Tbilisi could literally win 4-0 one game. The next game, there's a centre-back getting sent off in the second. And then it's just mental.
It's a nonsense
yeah,
league. It's complete
yeah,
nonsense.
it's mental. That league is mental. Yeah.
That and the Saudi league. I mean, I just think having the Saudi league as playable in the game would make a lot of sense. I realize it's probably difficult, but yeah, the Saudi league would be my other answer.
Ooh, the Saudi league. I'm just thinking about the transfer budget.
Yeah, that would be funny. That would be like you just get the tycoon non-Saudi, like I have $500 million to try and win the Saudi league. What you could do is you do like a network save and you take over the 4 clubs that have all the money.
That would be a great
and you
network
just figure
save.
out like, yeah, you're all going after this.
It's pretty much how people set up their network saves now as well, ain't it?
Basically. So.
So sorry, I missed the last little tail bit of that because I just had to go and put a small child back out of the room.
We were talking mad shit, so it's fine.
Oh, okay, fair enough. One thing I will mention, and a bit of a shout out for yourself there, and appreciate the recent Euros and Copa America you did with a whole bunch of creators. So that was good fun. What was the thought process? Was it just like get it done while you can, or was it just?
People always assume that there's a lot more thought process that goes into that than there actually is. So I've traveled a ton over the last 2 months. I cannot express to you how exhausted I've been over those last 2 months. I've been home for a couple of times for various reasons, down in Florida. And then I was in Europe for close to 20 days, and I was in London for a few days before that, then back in Europe again. It was a whole thing. And while I'm doing that, I'm on a plane down to Tampa, and somebody just I can't even remember who it was. Somebody was like, "Oh, you should." I couldn't even tell you if it was on Twitter or Discord or group chat or group text or friend from home. I don't even know. So it was like, "Oh, just somebody should do like a Euros tournament." And I'm just kind of sitting there and I'm looking around and I'm like, I could probably do that, right? Like I'm on the flight down to Tampa, and I'm like, I could do that. So I found there's a Discord with a good number of Football Manager creators in it, and I can't even remember what I posted. I just go first, I made the simplest Discord server of all time, created an invite link, and I'm like, first 24 people to join, like first 23 people to join the Discord. Get to like if you're free on this day, like can play in this tournament. And I took Tom's database. Tom had a database that was made that could start. So I just texted him. I was like, hey, can I use that? He's like, sure. And so I put Tom in. Of course, he got England and won the whole damn thing. It was ridiculous.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
I mean,
his database.
He rigged it. I'm happy that he won it because when I saw Lelujo got France, I'm like, this is my worst nightmare.
Oh, yeah. I saw that as well.
That is actually my worst nightmare. So, I mean, that was all of the thought that went into it until the day of. And I remember because all the stuff that was going on at home, I sat down about 10 minutes before the stream started. And I've got all these other people, I get it. All right. Because like when you're in the creator economy, you're in this like creator universe, there's just like this constant ranking of everybody. And so basically what happens is a lot of people that maybe make Football Manager content, but have never met me in person or whatever, have me on some sort of like pedestal. They're afraid to talk to me, or they're afraid of like, what they're like, or all of a sudden they're in this tournament and they feel like this is the greatest opportunity of their life, and I'm over here and I'm like, I haven't planned out shit. I have no idea what's about to happen. Like, I don't even know if this is gonna work. But that, a bunch of them are sending me messages and like private messages. And they're like, so what do I need to wear? And like, what do I need to do? I'm like, dude, I don't know. But it's all. It's all just by the seat of my pants because I didn't have any time to plan it. I just sat down 10 minutes before and I'm like, I hope this works. And I got in a call with Tom to like, okay, here's the database. And we did a little join thing and Tom joined and I was like, oh, it works. And I just started the stream and we just went from there. It was so last minute that the fact that it worked and went as smoothly as it did, it was super fun. Were you? You guys
I was Romania. Romania.
Congrats!
I did a very short stream, but
I got Serbia, and I was like, damn it. Then of course the person that had Austria, because I did this whole wheel thing where somebody got my team, and the person that got Austria made it to the semifinals, so I ended up looking like an idiot. I at least had fun. That whole thing was just a blast, though. I mean, I'm definitely going to plan that out more in the future. But I did almost feel bad for all those people because I knew they were nervous and I knew that they were like really kind of on edge for this. And I'm like, I can't give you any information because I have no idea what the hell's about to happen. It is really funny. Like when people watch that sort of stuff, they'll be like, oh, you've probably been planning this for weeks. And I'm like, dude, I didn't know if this was going to happen until 5 minutes before I started the stream. People always assume there's more planning that goes into that sort of stuff than there actually is. And then Copa America was more just, well, we did the one. It was so much fun. Let's do the other one. But then, but then on the downside, you get DMs from people that are like, yo, bro, why didn't you invite me? And you're like, dude, I did. There is no planning to this at all. I was just trying to get 16 people so that we could play the damn thing in the first place.
You were 5 minutes too late to respond to the who's free.
Well, the way we did the Copa America one is we already had the Discord with 24 people. So I think the way a couple people helped me set up the Copa America database because we didn't have it as easy a one. So those people that helped me set it up got in. I got in. And then it was like the next 11 people or something that replied with a meme. I think that was it. I think I literally was like, the next 11 people like that reply to this post with a meme, just get in. Like I couldn't think of a better way to do it. It ended up working out. And then I got Venezuela, so it didn't work out too well, but whatever.
Well, maybe more in the future. What I think we should do now, so we're going to break off. I'm going to do some extra bits on Patreon. We're going to do a little Q&A with Zealand. If you want to come and join that and find out what we talk about, Aaron, where can they find it and how?
They can go to patreon.com/the FM show pod. I'm looking at Tony thinking, don't break.
Finally, he's done it right.
Just focused on you. So yeah, make sure you head over to our Patreon. If you didn't understand what I said, the link will also be in the description below. You can support the channel from as little as £3, but Patreon has given us a little gift recently where you can join for a 7-day free trial.
Trials indeed. And of course, Zealand, if people don't know where to find you, where can they find you? Plug your socials, plug your websites, your YouTube.
Just Google Zealand Twitch or Zealand YouTube. Something will come up that vaguely looks like me if my head's shaved and you get a jump scare. I'm sorry, I had to do that for charity.
There we go. Right, cool. I guess we have to say thank you. Zealand, thank you very, very much. Everyone else, take care of yourselves. We'll see you all next week. All the best. Bye now.